how attractive you are is how hard you punch, right? Now, your sex appeal is your ability to punch. There's a big difference between whether or not you're a puncher and whether or not you hit hard. There are plenty of fighters who hit hard, but they can go years without a knockout, right? When I was boxing, there have been plenty of people, in none of my amateur matches did I get a knockout, right? I got some 8 counts, but I didn't get any knockouts. Why? Because maybe I was jittery at the time. I was just really just trying to go out there, get it done. Maybe there was nervousness in my legs. Maybe I spent my energy too fast, too quick in the fight. Now, I won all my matches, right? I won all my matches. You could still win, but that doesn't mean that you get the knockout. And it works similarly with women, right? You can be attractive, and that can invite a woman in. She can feel that attractiveness. That can bring a little bit of allure to it, especially with online dating. But if you do not have sex appeal, then you may not sleep with that woman no matter how attractive you are. And if you are, you may sleep with her through the means of going through it her way, getting a decision victory, right? You may get that decision victory where you go through her program and then you eventually hit it. But is that really doing it on your terms? You're leaving it in the hands of the judges, right? Now, if your sex appeal is strong enough, which means you have some game, you understand sexual energy, you understand the interactions, the ebbs and flows of conversation with the woman, so that when you spit your game, so that when you spit your program, that it creates sexual desire, then even if you're not the biggest puncher in the world, let's say you know how to counterpunch. Let's say you're not the most attractive man in the world. Let's say you're not the most attractive. Let's say you're 7 or a 6 or whatever it is, right? And you're a communicating woman. Let's say she's a 9 or whatever it is, right? Now, that how attractive she is may be her chin, right? To a certain extent. This is a stream of consciousness right now, right? So let's say you have a certain level of sex appeal. Your sex appeal can be higher or lower than how attractive you are. This is something that needs to be understood, right? So when you're looking at your sex appeal versus your attractiveness, this is the reason why looks, money, status is more so a part of the value-based dating strategy, while I'm looking more so at the chemistry and compatibility and intrinsic motivation-based dating strategy, right? Making yourself attractive for the outcome that you desire, and then learning to intrinsically desire what it is that the other person wants from you if you want to give it, right? And this is what I mean. So if you understand the sequence of a combination, if you understand female sexual nature, then you can catch her hand in the cookie jar. What is catching her hand in the cookie jar? That's catching her throwing her jab and leaving it low. That's catching her trying to parry your jab. And instead of directing, instead of using her jab, instead of using her parry to deflect and change the trajectory of the jab in order to keep you from landing full contact, she is using force against your jab to try and knock it down. You saw my video about how Adrian Broner was able to, how Marcos Maidana was able to solve the problem of Adrian Broner, right? If you understand counterpunching, you're able to put yourself in positions where even if you may not have a hard enough one-punch combination, a hard enough one-punch just dead center when they're just standing there to knock them out, you may be able to catch them coming in and then double the force, right? So let's say you have a certain level of attractiveness to a woman. May not be enough just off the strength of only your attractiveness that you'll be able to sleep with her. But if you have game, then your sex appeal will double the force of how attractive you are and then create a certain level of sexual attraction. Now I'll say this. Some men out there do not want to deal with a woman unless their attractiveness is enough. And I'm not mad at that at all. I'm not mad at that at all. Right? But you have to understand, what is more important to you. Is it more important for you to have an easy fight, right, that gets over quick, or is it more important for you to win, right? And, different people have different mindsets about that, right? Some people, some fighters, if you don't get a knockout, then you still, if you don't just get the knockout, you may feel like you're down on the scorecards. So you're just going to go for broke. Right? And that's what it is when you just come at a woman with your attractiveness, right? Now, I'll say this, you use your sex appeal, you create that desire, you create those openings, and then you capitalize. And I'm not saying this to say that a man and a woman interaction is something where it's a person against another person. But until a woman has seeing you for who you are, until a woman sees your masculinity, until a woman experiences your sexual energy, there's a good chance that a lot of women may have a mindset, especially when you're online dating, where they just want to weed out the men who are a waste of time. And the waste of time works one of two ways. Either she does not think that you will give her a fulfilling sexual experience, or she does not think that you will give her a relationship or to date her seriously, right? And you got to know the difference between the two. So this is just Brody's take, just giving this analogy between sex appeal and looks is like the ability to be a puncher versus your ability to be just to punch hard, right? Because there have been, I've sparred with plenty of people who said that it's the hardest they've ever been hit. I've sparred with people where they said I hit like a mule kicks. I've sparred with people where, they've never been hit that hard before, right? To the body or to the head. But that doesn't automatically guarantee that you're going to get the knockout when you go in the ring. It doesn't mean that. It takes a certain level of skill. It takes a certain level of poise. It takes a certain level of patience, but also a certain level of killer instinct to understand when you see the opportunity. Another thing is this. There are combination punchers where you can use volume. You use the volume of your aggression, right? Your masculinity, your assertiveness. And that assertiveness will raise the level of your punching power, right? So let's say you're a certain level of attractive. Instead of it just being raw sex appeal, your assertiveness, where you tell a woman exactly what you want up front, it raises the level of your punching power, right? It raises the level of your punching power to where you wear that woman down and you get her out there. And I'm not talking about coercing a woman. I'm not talking about trying to force her to do something she doesn't want to do. When I'm talking about this, I'm talking about her resistance to sexual energy from a stranger. I'm not talking about trying to get a woman who does not want to have sex with you that want to have sex with you. That's not what I'm talking about. So don't misconstrue that. But this is just Brody's take, giving this analogy between boxing and sex appeal.